Hi guys, I'm here today to do an update of a video that I did nearly 3 years ago now, and that is the series I have completed. In the time between the two videos, I have completed 30 series, and that is novels, manga and comic. I'm going to tell you about them all today. I have unhauled some of these series in that time, so I'm just going to list those ones off. If you want to know more about those series, they're in my unhaul videos that are on this channel, and if you're wondering if I've read any other series, they might be in my original video, and that's why I'm not talking about them in this one. So the series I've unhauled I'm just going to list off because I haven't got them, so we can't really talk too much about them, and obviously I haven't kept them, so you know, it's not like I'm too bothered about them. So the reasons I've unhauled them is either they got worse with every book and I just gave up and I just didn't want them anymore, or it's because I liked them at the time and I was younger when I read them, but I don't think I'm going to bother rereading them, and I don't think I hold them dearly in my heart or anything like that, so I was fine with letting them go. Anyway, so the series I have completed since then, I'm just going to read my list, are the Hereafter Trilogy, the Witch Trilogy, the Halo Trilogy, the Mercy series, the After Eden Duology, the Starcross Trilogy, the Hush Hush series, the Nightshade Trilogy, the Abandoned Trilogy and the Dark Angel Trilogy. If you are wondering about any of those books, you can either look on my Goodreads, which I always have linked, or you can go on this channel and look at my previous unhauls and you'll see exactly how I felt about them. But here are the ones I've actually kept, so these are pretty much all good things. So the first one I'm going to show you is the one comic book series that I've completed. I did a bit of a review video on this, and if you know much about my channel you know that I'm also a huge symphonic metal fan, and that's the reason why I own this comic book series. That is the Unforgiving, and this is the comic series that was the concept for the Unforgiving album by Within Temptation. Sorry, and this is made of 6 volumes. They're all quite small so that it was quite easy to get through, and I think I read them all like in the same kind of week. So this is by Stephen O'Connell, Romana Molnar, Libule Underwood and Ada Zhu. I hope I'm pronouncing those right, but no promises. So yeah, if you like the band Within Temptation and you like that album, give this a go because it'll help you, you know, learn the album more, and you'll see moments of the songs in this. It was a very fun, enjoyable read. I think I gave them all 4 stars if I remember correctly. And of course it's Within Temptation merchandise, so I would never part with it anyway. But yeah, I actually have 2 copies of this first volume. This is my first copy of this because my friend bought me this when they first came out, and then my boyfriend bought me the whole collection as a present. He didn't realise I had a volume, so I don't know whether or not I'm going to keep this one volume forever, but I feel bad on the friend who went out and bought this like when they came out. So yeah, that's the comic. I have 3 manga series that I have completed, and if you read manga at all, you know that it's much more difficult to complete a manga series, especially if you are in the UK, because we have to wait for America to get the editions and then for America to send us some of their editions. It's difficult, it's very difficult, and it's frustrating, but here we go. Anyways, I'm going too far. Anyways, the first one is the Wicked Lovely Desert Tales Trilogy. This is actually only 3 volumes, which is tiny for manga, thank goodness, because it was nice and easy for me to get through. So this is the Melissa Ma Wicked Lovely series spin-off in manga form, and if I remember correctly, this was this manga originally, and then she wrote the story as a book as well, and I've read that. I've read everything. I love this world and I really want to read the original series again. So hopefully this might help to inspire me to reread the Wicked Lovely series. But yeah, I love this. Of course I did. It's the world I love, and I can't not love it. Even though I read the Wicked Lovely so long ago that I probably remember it completely nostalgically and I don't remember actual quality or anything, I love it, and I get the feeling that if I reread it I'm just going to turn back into like my 16-year-old self and love it still. So this was nice spin-off. I appreciate it. The next one is series by my favourite artist, and that is Ceres, and this is by Uwatase. This is her like horror series. It's not really horror, but for some reason it gets described as it. Probably in the terms of her work, this is horror because it does have like more like gory moments and like freaky bits and pieces, but I don't see it as horror really. I see it as just another fantasy. She is the queen of fantasy and I love her, and this is a series about twins who end up, I don't know how to explain it, they like share a body with their like ancestors who happen to have powers. Like one is a celestial being, Ceres, and she has Aya's body, like they share a body. I don't want to spoil things obviously, but yeah, I recommend it because Uwatase does no wrong. It all got 5 stars because I just love her. I love her artwork and she just inspires me. I did try and draw years and years ago, and it looks more like her work than anything else, but I'm not talented. And the final manga series that I have read is of course again by Uwatase, and that is Fushigi Yugi Genbu Kaiden. This is the spin-off, again another spin-off to the Fushigi Yugi series, and this follows the original priestess Takiko, as she tries to fulfill the prophecy of Genbu, and she works to, you know, get the wishes from the god, much like Fushigi Yugi with Miyaka and Yui and what they do for Suzaku/Seiryu. Sorry, I've just lost my train of thought there. This story, anyways, get back. This story I gave 5 stars because I love this world. This again is another world that I just adore and it gives me nostalgia as well, but I've actually grown more with this one because I've had to collect more volumes, so it's taken me longer, so I've got older as I've read it. And this, I actually prefer Takiko to Miyaka as a protagonist, but I do prefer the story in general of the other one, but this is not bad at all. Like, I still love it. I love the characters. Again, she can do no wrong. Uwatase, just read her everything, please. Anyways, moving on to the novels. These are all just randomly piled. I just kind of plonked them all together and made sure I had all the right books, so they're just in random piles. There's no order to this. So the first one I've got here is the Birthright Trilogy by Gabrielle Zevin, and I don't really hear people talk about this series. I hear people talk about oh, it's gone. She's got another famous book. Memoirs of a Teenage Amnesiac? Is that her? Anyways, I've heard people talk about the author, but not this series. Or if they do, they like haul this book and then they never talk about it again. I love this trilogy. I gave every book 5 stars. I was just obsessed. It's a mafia style story, where chocolate is illegal in this world, and I just love it. Coffee is also illegal, I believe. Yes, it has been a little while since I read this, but I just loved it. I loved Anya as a character. I just really rooted for her. Every decision she made, I was like, yeah, you go, you live your best life, you do it, and you grow with her. Like, she gets older in each book and she kind of becomes wiser in each book, and I really appreciated that about her. She learns about the real world and she makes it, and she does, you know, what she can do, and I really enjoyed it. Great trilogy. The next one, is another 5-star trilogy. I promise I haven't put these in star order. Well, I definitely haven't because there's some 4s underneath this, and I know there's some more 5s elsewhere. Anyways, so this is the Sky Trilogy by Amy Kathleen Ryan. This is another series that I don't hear about anywhere. I've seen like 2 or 3 people haul this, but it never gets spoke about. I've seen people then unhaul this and say, well, I never bothered reading it, I just picked it up. No, please, just read this series. This is a sci-fi series where the Earth is basically ruined and humanity is trying to find a new safe planet to live on. There are 2 ships that are currently on the journey to get to the planet that has been promised to the people, and one ship realises it needs the help of the other ship, so the two ships end up meeting, and it all goes off from there. This trilogy is very much about morally grey and thinking, is this right, is this wrong, is there actually a right and a wrong, who should I trust? And it's just very much learning the hard way to get by in life, and I love it. It's just, again, I root for the characters. I liked every character, and like I would flip and change over who was the good characters and bad characters and things like that. Read it. Anyways, the next one is a trilogy again. That is the Angel Fall trilogy by Susan E. No, it's not the Angel Fall, it's Penryn and the End of Days trilogy. It's actually on the spine, I should have known. Anyways, so I read this trilogy. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's a fun, I say fun, it was a nice easy read. Angel trilogy, and it's probably the most enjoyable Angel story. Like as a whole series. Some I've enjoyed, like the first book or whatever, and then it's all gone downhill. Yeah, where was I going with this? And this is basically where the angels have turned Earth into a dystopia and they're taking over, and Penryn is just trying to save her family. Next is the Septimus Heap series. This was a series I didn't know if I was going to like it. I was a bit scared it was going to be like Harry Potter, which I guess in a way it kind of is, because it's about a young wizard boy learning how to be a young wizard. And where am I going with this? Oh my god, sorry, I'm not with it today, obviously. And this is a 7-book series. I gave every book 4 stars. I feel like if I'd read this when I was the right age, like middle grade age, this would have been my Harry Potter, and I would have been obsessed with this while everyone else was talking about him, because I wasn't in the fandom. Sorry, I'm not. So thank you, Septimus Heap, for giving me faith that I can like things that might be like Harry Potter. The next one is a trilogy again, because everything's a trilogy, or at least it was at one point. Now everything's kind of going duology. And that is the Paranormal C Trilogy by Kirsten White. I enjoyed this. Again, I think I gave every book 4 stars. This is the story of a girl named Evie who works for an agency that collects paranormal creatures. It's been quite a while since I read this. This is one of the series that I kind of finished close to the video, I believe, the first video that I made. So it has been a while, but I remember really enjoying it, and I liked the fact it had lots of different creatures and it wasn't too focused on a certain type of paranormal. It was just like everything mixed together. It was kind of what I needed at the time to get me through the whole paranormal phase that we all had, and yeah, I enjoyed it. The next one is the School of Good and Evil by Sumin Chinani, and this is a trilogy again, but it's being extended, so technically I haven't finished it if we're going with the extension way, but I have finished the trilogy and I believe I finished this series. I don't think I'm going to continue on with the Camelot years, because this is the end of their coming of age story basically, and I just don't see the point. I don't understand why they've continued on with it, but hey ho, this seems to be a thing as well now. Let's continue series out of nowhere. So this is the story of 2 girls who are best friends, and they end up going to the School of Good and the School of Evil, but the girl who goes to the School of Good is the girl you thought was going to the School of Evil, and the girl who goes to the School of Evil is the girl you thought was going to the School of Good, and chaos ensues. And the first book I'd probably say is the best book, but I think I gave every book 4 stars. But this one I was deciding whether or not it was a 5. I really enjoyed this one, and there was fun in the other 2, obviously, because I gave them 4 stars. But this one is definitely like the true story of it all. Like, this is the best book in the series. Anyways, moving on is a trilogy. Oh my goodness, how many trilogies have I read? This is Shadow and Bone, which is now the first book of the Shadow and Bone, not the Grisha like it says on the book, because Leigh Bardugo has extended this universe, so it's now all the Grisha universe with like the 6 of Crows, which I own but I haven't read yet. I read this quite recently. I marathon read the trilogy. I gave them all 4 stars. They were a little bit disappointing just from all the hype, so I tried to kind of take that out, because, you know, it was so hugely hyped. But I did enjoy it, and they were really fun reads, and there was elements that I really liked. And I've heard people say that they thought this ended with the wrong pairing, the wrong relationship at the end. But I'm like, no, this ended exactly correctly with the right relationship, because anything else would have been ridiculous. Is that a controversial opinion? Probably. Welcome to my channel. I've just said I don't like Harry Potter, but I'm more concerned that this is controversial. Anyways, yes, so fun trilogy about a girl who lives in a world of Grisha. You probably know this fantasy series. You've probably heard all about it. I'm probably boring you. Probably. Let's say that again. The next one is a trilogy, again, that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. I haven't seen really anyone haul it or anything, and I loved it. I did love the first two a lot more than I loved the third one. I feel like the third one was just that bit too long and it got a bit too dragged out, but I appreciated it for what it was, and it did need to conclude a lot of stories, and that is the Ashes trilogy by Ilsa J. Bick. This is a dystopian, I want to call it a dystopian, kind of horror-esque series where this like electronic wave goes off across the world and it kills pretty much most of the adult population, like 90% of the adults in the world gone, and the children who survive 90% of the time, again we'll go with that one, turn into like zombie-esque creatures. And this is following a girl who hasn't changed but did survive, and there is a few survivors obviously along that line who survived but didn't change, and she's trying to find others, you know, so she's safe, and it all goes on from there. Oh, sorry, I've put this pile a bit too far away. I'm short. The next series is a 5-star series that I adore. You're probably sick of me talking about this because I went on and on and on about this series not too long ago. That is the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Mayer. Marissa Mayer? Nope, that's Melissa Mayer. Marissa Mayer. I love this series. I love it. This might be my new favourite all-time series. This is sci-fi retellings of fairy tales, which is apparently exactly what I need in life. Cinder is my favourite book, but I gave every book 5 stars, and even the spin-off novella. And I've read, like I said, I've read all the novellas, I've read Fairest, this is my world. I love it. I love all the characters. I think it's brilliant, and I kind of wish there was more, but I don't, because I don't want it to get like ruined by an extension and, you know, pointless fairy tales being added in. But Cinder and Kai are like my ultimate OTP. I just love them and I want them to be happy, and I don't care if you disagree with that. They are my babies. The next one is one that I got quite obsessed with a couple of years ago now. I believe I've spoken about it on this channel, and that is Under the Never Sky Trilogy by Veronica Rossi, and I really got into this when I read this. I gave every book 5 stars, I believe, again. I'm doing quite well with all these 5 stars, but I guess all the ones that I didn't like I've already gotten rid of. And this follows a girl who lived in a dome. It's kind of like dystopian / fantasy. She lived in a dome that was safe, and she gets kicked out and she has to fend for herself and find her mother. And she ends up meeting people who have lived outside of the dome, and she learns more about the world because it's a dystopian, of course she does. But I loved this. The romance was brilliant. I feel like it was a really strong pairing, and I just wanted more and more and more, and I read these super quickly. And if you've ever seen Ginger Reads Lainey, you know that she thinks they're like drugs. The next one is a series that the first one really is the best, and I did enjoy the second 2. I gave one of them 5 and one of them 4 stars, but this one's the best in the trilogy again, and that is the Perfect Chemistry Trilogy by Simone Alcalez. This is something that is like a relic. When I was first watching BookTube, this was what people were talking about, and I understand why, because this is the only contemporary, I believe, this is the only contemporary out of everything I am currently showing you. Definitely make sure. I guess all these things I've done is technically contemporary as well, but this is like contemporary romance, and I just ate it up. I don't really read contemporaries. I don't really get into all those kind of things. Like, I don't know, it doesn't appeal to me too much. But this, I loved it. I just rooted for these two so much. I wanted them to be happy. I wanted everything to work out, and it was really addictive writing, and I actually cried at the end of this. I don't know if it's because I was in a vulnerable place at the time. I can't remember really what point of my life I was in, but this, just, yeah, I understand that hype. The next one is, this book I gave 5 stars, and then the rest of the series was absolutely pants, but I read it because this first book was so amazing. I've unhauled the rest of the series, but I own the first book still, and that is Kissed by an Angel, even though this is technically a bind-up of 3 books. But for some reason in the UK, this is the first book, and then the other 3 got released as the other 3, like as 3 separate books. So this is actually 6 books, but yeah, this bind-up, these 3, I love. This. Just read this bind-up if you're going to get into this series. This is by Elizabeth Chandler, and this is an angel story. This is why I said about angels when I was talking about Penman, that this is something I liked but it didn't all end well. About a boy who has died and he's coming back as an angel to help his girlfriend. Well, you read from both people's perspective, but that's like that's the plot basically, and it's like a thriller mystery kind of book with paranormal in there, obviously because he's an angel, and I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. I did read this at a time when I had broken my toes, so I couldn't move anywhere, so I basically just read this. That's all I did for like a good few days, maybe a week. I can't remember, it's quite a big book anyways. So yeah, and I just inhaled it, and I was immersed. I needed to know. I loved it. How many times can I say loved it? The next one is a duology where I liked one and disliked the other one, so I've only kept the first one. That is Between the Lines by Jodi Picoult and Samantha Van Leer. I know a lot of people have only read the second one because you don't have to read them both to enjoy it, but this first one is so much better, even though it looks like a really weird like cookery book or something, just on a spin-off. But this one, I really enjoyed the first one, and this is a story I think we can all relate to. We would love for some of our favourite characters to come to life and talk to us. We would love to be able to, you know, get so involved in a book that we can see the world and the world can come to us. And anyways, yeah, this is great. I loved this, and I found it a really charming, fun read. The second one, oh my god, it was just, let's do the same thing that resolved that again, and then again, and then again, and then we'll add some ridiculous teenage dramas into it, and then again. So yeah, I couldn't cope with that one. I gave it 2 stars, only on the reason that they put a pretty brave move in there. But yeah, I liked this one. I think I gave that 4 stars, I want to say. Did I give it 5? No, 4. Surely. Anyways, stop distracting yourself, Vicky. This one is Dead Beautiful. This is a trilogy. It's by Yvonne Woon, and this is a zombie trilogy, sort of. I don't know how to explain it. Basically, if you die as a teenager, there's a chance you will come back to life and you will live as a teenager again, but people don't know about it. Like, they're all in this separate school, and then a human girl ends up going to this school, and she learns that this is a whole society of teenagers that have come back to life again, and a trilogy happens. And the next one is the Selection series. Trilogy completed. The 5 books completed. So I've completed this twice technically. I love it. I love the Selection. You know what it's about. It's the Bachelor. I don't know why I'm doing the girl version when the girl isn't the one choosing. The add-on books are, so there we go. Anyways, this is The Bachelor, but sort of dystopian, and it's very romance. This is probably like my type of romance, where there's other stuff going on. It's not just all real world romance, but the romance can be heavy if it's got a good enough, if there's good enough stuff surrounding it, and I just ate it up. I love it. I love the trilogy, I especially love, but I actually really liked the other 2. People hated them, but I it's just they're so addictive and they're my guilty pleasures, and I don't care that people hate this trilogy and then despise the other ones. I happily take them, and I could probably easily read anything Kira Cass writes, so I might end up reading The Siren. I think that's the other book that's been going around by her. And the last one is the Legend Trilogy by Marie Lu. This is a dystopian, and it follows a boy who lives on the streets and a girl who is very privileged, and the two end up meeting and they kind of learn more about each other's lives and each other's worlds, and it, you know, of course they want to make the world better and they do it together, which is it's a really fun trilogy. I've heard people who are really obsessed with this, and I get where they're coming from, but for me it was a 4-star trilogy. I wasn't obsessed, but I was in the second book, the ending of that book, I was like I remember being like like really, I don't want to spoil my reaction because my reaction was obviously a spoiler, but I really got engrossed in that ending. So I applaud you, Marie Lu, for that. And I'm actually currently reading her Young Elites trilogy. I've started book 1, I'm like halfway-ish through it. So yeah, I've enjoyed her writing. And those are all of the series I have completed since my last video. I will link my Goodreads if you want to add me on there, if you want to look at the series and see my opinions. That'd be fun. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye!